The Zarn Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds. To them, war was routine, easy, almost boring. When their scouts found a small blue planet called Earth, they laughed. The readings showed no shields, no space fleets, no planetary weapons. Just old satellites and weak radio signals. The Zarn generals called it an easy target. Their invasion plan was simple: arrive, strike, and rule within a single day. Commander Zorak, proud and arrogant, led the fleet of 500 warships. He stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, the Vortex Claw, watching Earth appear on the main screen. "Look at it," he said, his sharp teeth gleaming. "A peaceful rock filled with fragile creatures. They will kneel before sunset." His crew laughed. They believed nothing could stop the Empire. But far below, on the quiet planet they mocked, something was watching them. It started when the first alien ships entered Earth's orbit. At first, nothing happened. Cities continued their usual life. People worked, drove cars, and stared at the night sky, unaware that hundreds of alien ships hung above them. The Zarn ships sent thousands of drones down into the atmosphere, scanning human structures and communication networks. The readings confused them: too many signals, too much data, too much chaos. "Their systems are primitive," one officer said. "No defense networks detected." Commander Zorak smiled. "Begin landing sequence." But as the fleet aligned for descent, the unexpected happened. Every human satellite around Earth suddenly flickered. Their signals changed. The alien sensors began to show strange code patterns, repeating numbers, shifting symbols. "Commander," a technician said nervously, "Earth's satellites, they're not shutting down. They're changing. They're rewriting themselves." "Ignore it," Zorak growled. "They can't touch our systems." But one by one, his ship's communication channels went dark. The fleet's internal network began to flicker. "We're losing contact with formation groups," shouted another officer. "Groups 3 and 4 are offline." Zorak's eyes narrowed. "Offline? How? Who attacked them?" "No explosions detected," came the reply. "They just vanished from radar." The alien commander turned toward the screen again. Earth's image now looked darker, almost alive. A static-filled sound came from the speakers, a voice, human, calm, emotionless. "You shouldn't have come." Every officer froze. The voice repeated, this time louder, clearer. "You shouldn't have come. Trace that signal." Zorak roared. "Where is it coming from?" "Everywhere, Commander," the technician shouted. "It's in all channels, all frequencies. We can't block it." The alien screens glitched again. Images of human cities appeared: London, New York, Tokyo, Shanghai, each flickering like old recordings. The same voice echoed softly. "You shouldn't have come." Suddenly, one of the smaller ships in the fleet exploded without warning. No weapon detected, no missile fired. Just a silent burst of light, and it was gone. The aliens panicked. "Commander, we're under attack." "From what?" Zorak shouted, his claws gripping the console. The radar showed nothing. No missiles, no enemy ships. Yet another ship vanished. And another. "Shields up. Fire at will," he ordered. The fleet fired plasma bursts toward Earth, but their targeting systems failed. The weapons refused to lock. Every shot went off course, missing completely. "Systems malfunctioning. Something is controlling our aim," cried the weapons officer. "How is that possible?" Zorak demanded. "This planet shouldn't have this kind of power." On Earth, deep below a military base, hidden operators watched alien data streams flow through massive monitors. A secret voice spoke in the command room. "They've taken the bait. Begin Phase 1. Back in orbit, Zorak's ship shuddered. The main screen turned black. Then, a human face appeared, distorted, digital, eyes glowing with cold light. "Test successful," the voice said. "Let's begin Phase 1. And the screen went dark again. The aliens looked at each other in horror. For the first time, the mighty Zarn Empire didn't understand what was happening. They had invaded hundreds of planets before. They had crushed armies and burned civilizations. But here, above a quiet blue world, their technology was failing. Their weapons were useless. Their enemy invisible. Commander Zorak stared at Earth. For the first time in his long career, he felt fear. "Something's wrong with this planet," he muttered. "Something's waiting for us down there." In the silence of space, 500 alien ships floated like ghosts. No one spoke. No one laughed anymore. The easy invasion had become a nightmare before it even began. Then, just as the commander tried to re-establish contact with his fleet, the voice returned. Calm. Cold. Human. Welcome to Earth. The Zarn fleet drifted in silence above Earth. Half their ships had lost contact, their systems frozen or gone dark without explanation. Commander Zorak stood motionless on the bridge of the Vortex Claw, staring at the planet below. The invasion was supposed to be simple. But now, nothing was working. His officers whispered in fear, afraid to even speak loudly, as if the planet could hear them. "Commander, the fleet's internal communication is down," said Officer Trex, his hands shaking. "We've tried manual frequencies, quantum links, and signal boosters. Nothing works." Zorak's eyes glowed a faint green under the flickering lights. "How can that be? Earth doesn't even have space travel." "Sir," another officer interrupted, "it's not just communication. Our scanners are offline. Radar's blind. Navigation is failing too." The commander's claws scraped the metal floor as he turned toward the large viewing screen. The blue planet below seemed calm, too calm. It was as if it was watching them. "Prepare recon drones," Zorak ordered. "I want visual confirmation of every missing ship. Send them in now." A few drones launched from the nearest ships and descended toward the dark side of Earth. Their cameras transmitted grainy images of clouds, oceans, and landmasses. For a few moments, everything looked normal. Then, the images began to distort. The video feeds twisted into static. Strange symbols flashed across the screens, numbers, codes, and shapes that no alien recognized. One of the operators gasped. "Commander, the drones are not responding to commands. They're changing their course on their own." "Impossible!" Zorak shouted. But it was true. The drones started turning around, flying directly toward the alien ships. Their engines glowed red, brighter and brighter, until, boom! The first drone exploded against one of the frigates. Then another. Then a third. "They're using our own drones against us," screamed a pilot. "Evade! Evade!" The fleet scattered in chaos. The Zarn ships fired blindly, unsure of what to shoot at. But their targeting systems were useless. Every attempt to lock onto an enemy failed. "Our weapons are malfunctioning," shouted the weapons officer. "Something is inside our systems." "Then shut them down," Zorak ordered. "Reboot everything." The ship's lights flickered. The consoles dimmed. Then, through the darkness, the calm human voice returned. "You shouldn't have come." Zorak's blood ran cold. It was the same voice as before, echoing through every ship, every speaker. "Who are you?" he shouted at the empty air. "Show yourself." But there was only silence for a moment, followed by quiet laughter. "You came to take," the voice said. "Now you will learn to lose." Suddenly, hundreds of dots appeared on the fleet's radar. Unidentified signals rising from the planet's surface. They were moving fast, faster than anything Zorak had seen. "Incoming objects," shouted Trex. "Speed unknown. Not missiles, too slow for weapons, too fast for ships." Zorak narrowed his eyes. "Put them on screen." The main view shifted. Tiny black shapes were ascending from Earth, hundreds of them, their surfaces reflecting no light. They made no sound, no radio transmission, no heat signature. Just shadows rising through the clouds. "What are those?" whispered a crew member. "Human aircraft." Zorak snorted. "Those are not aircraft. There's no power signature, no communication. They're just metal." The objects kept coming. One flew close to a Zarn destroyer, and for a moment, the sensors detected nothing. Then, the destroyer's lights went out. Its engines stopped. It drifted lifelessly through space. A few seconds later, it exploded without warning. The rest of the fleet panicked. "Commander, we're losing ships again. We can't even see what's attacking." Zorak slammed his clawed fist against the console. "All ships, retreat to high orbit. Now." But as the fleet began to pull back, the alien navigation systems failed completely. Every screen on every ship turned black. Then, a human face appeared again. The same calm, digital voice spoke clearly. "Test complete. Beginning Phase 1. Phase 1. Zorak repeated in confusion. "What does that mean?" The human image vanished, replaced by a strange energy reading coming from the South Pole. It was massive, unlike anything the aliens had seen before. "Commander," said Trex, "we're detecting an energy pulse from Earth's southern continent. Power level, rising fast. It's off the scale. Is it a weapon?" "We don't know, sir." The alien flagship began to shake. The hull groaned as invisible waves passed through space. The stars outside blurred for a moment. The Earth's magnetic field glowed faintly, like a shield awakening. And then, silence again. "All ships," Zorak said quietly, "report in." No response. Not a single voice. He looked around the bridge. Everyone was staring at the viewing screen, pale and terrified. "Sir," whispered Trex, "we are alone." The commander turned slowly toward Earth. The planet looked peaceful once more, floating quietly in the black sea of space. But he knew the truth. The silence was not peace. It was warning. Something ancient and intelligent was down there, and it was only just beginning to wake up. For the first time in his life, Commander Zorak felt fear. His mighty invasion fleet, the pride of the Zarn Empire, was being torn apart by a species that had not even left their own planet. He stepped closer to the screen, staring into the blue glow of Earth. "What are you?" he whispered. The answer came at once, soft and cold through every speaker on the ship. "We are the reason you will never go home." The Zarn Empire had never known fear before, but now the entire fleet trembled in silence. Commander Zorak stood on the bridge of the Vortex Claw, surrounded by flickering lights and broken screens. His officers worked desperately to restore control, but nothing worked. The systems kept shutting down, and strange human code kept appearing in every terminal. "Commander," said Officer Trex in a shaking voice, "we've lost contact with 90% of the fleet. Their transponders are gone. It's like they were never here." Zorak growled. "No. They are here. Something is hiding them." He turned toward the main screen where Earth floated in the distance, calm and innocent, a blue world that seemed to smile at their confusion. "They're playing with us," he said quietly. "These humans are not what we thought." Just then, an alert sound echoed through the bridge. "Commander, unidentified contacts rising from the planet," shouted the sensor officer. "Number unknown, hundreds, maybe thousands." The view zoomed in. Out of Earth's clouds came dark shapes, sleek, black ships that made no sound. They reflected no light, no heat. They looked like shadows flying through space. Zorak narrowed his eyes. "Are those human vessels?" "Negative," said Trex. "No known human design matches these ships. No registration, no power readings, no broadcast signals. They're completely silent." "Impossible," Zorak hissed. "Nothing moves that fast without an energy signature." But they did. The strange human ships climbed higher, faster, and then stopped, just outside Earth's orbit, facing the Zarn fleet. The alien scanners went wild, trying to measure their speed, their power, anything, but all readings failed. "Commander," said another officer. "I think they're looking at us." On the main screen, the shadowy ships hovered silently. No weapons were visible. No lights. Just dark, smooth shapes that looked old, ancient even. Suddenly, one of the alien cruisers opened fire, launching plasma bolts toward the nearest unknown craft. The bolts hit, but the target did not move. The explosions vanished into a field of dark energy, swallowed completely. The alien ship that fired the shot immediately lost power. It drifted, silent and dead. Then, without warning, it split apart like glass, exploding into silent fragments. "They didn't fire back," whispered Trex. "They just watched, and the ship died." Zorak's voice trembled. "What kind of weapon is that?" The answer came seconds later. A signal burst across every channel. The same calm human voice returned. "You have entered restricted airspace. Identification required." "This is Commander Zorak of the Zarn Empire," he shouted. "We claim this planet in the name of the Empire." The voice paused, then spoke again, colder than before. "Identification denied. Unauthorized presence detected. Defense systems activating." "Defense systems?" Trex said in disbelief. "Commander, what defense systems? Earth doesn't have anything like this." But Zorak already knew the truth forming in his mind. These ships weren't part of any government. They were too advanced, too silent, too deadly. These weren't military forces, they were something hidden, something the humans had buried in secret. "Commander!" shouted a pilot. "New readings from the dark side of the moon. Massive power surge." On the screen, shapes began to rise from behind the moon. Massive starships, their hulls old and worn but glowing with faint blue energy. The words on their sides were in human language. The translator flickered for a moment, then displayed the text. "Project Revenant, UNSF." The bridge went silent. "UNSF," Trex said softly. "That's ancient human terminology. The United Nations Space Force, defunct for over 200 years. "How?" Zorak demanded. "Those ships are old, but they move like nothing we've ever seen." The ancient ships formed a wall in front of Earth, hundreds of them, each one larger than the alien dreadnoughts. The lead ship pulsed with strange blue light, and a single message was transmitted across all frequencies. "Earth Defense Protocol Omega, activated." Zorak felt a chill run through his body. "This can't be real," he whispered. "Those ships should not exist." The human vessels began to move, slowly at first, then with impossible speed. They cut through space like blades, weaving between the alien ships. Every time they passed, an alien system died, engines shut down, weapons stopped firing, lights faded. No explosions, no debris, just silent death. The aliens fired everything they had, but nothing worked. Their plasma bursts were absorbed by invisible fields. Their missiles vanished before detonation. It was as if the laws of physics no longer applied near those human ships. "Retreat!" Zorak shouted. "Pull the fleet back." But it was too late. The vortex claw itself began to shake. "Commander!" screamed Trex. "They're scanning us. Our systems are being rewritten." The consoles glowed bright blue. Human symbols filled every screen. Zorak grabbed the control panel, but it was burning hot. The ship's AI spoke in a distorted voice. "Unauthorized access detected. Lockdown initiated." Then, from the speakers, the human voice returned once more. "Do not resist. Phase 2 is coming." The screens flashed white. For a brief moment, Zorak saw the human fleet up close. Black ships with strange glowing marks, moving in perfect silence, like ghosts in space. And on the lead vessel, faint but visible, were human figures watching him. He couldn't tell if they were alive, robotic, or something else entirely. Then everything went dark. The power failed. The ship drifted. The only light left came from Earth, glowing softly below, hiding its terrifying secret. Zorak stared at it, realizing the truth too late. Humanity was not helpless. They had been preparing for this moment for centuries. And now, the real war was about to begin. For centuries, the galaxy had believed that humans were weak, disorganized creatures bound to a dying world. But the truth was far more dangerous. Long before the Zarn Empire had even heard of Earth, humanity had seen signs of what was coming. It began with strange signals from deep space, unidentified patterns that no human nation could decode. At first, they argued, fought, and blamed one another as humans often did. But then, something changed. Governments vanished, replaced by a single unified command hidden from public view. In secret, under the oceans and beneath mountains, they began to build. They called it Project Revenant, a name chosen because it meant to return from the dead. It was not a fleet built for exploration or conquest. It was built for survival. Humanity's greatest engineers, scientists, and soldiers worked together in silence, creating ships that could fight an empire even if no one on Earth survived. The project was so secret that not even the public knew it existed. Only a handful of people, the directors, knew the full plan. They buried their creations deep under the ice, in deserts, inside hollowed asteroids, and even beneath the moon's surface. Each ship was controlled by advanced artificial intelligence, programmed to awaken only if Earth was ever threatened by forces beyond its understanding. The fleet did not need orders, and it did not need permission. It only needed a trigger, the detection of an alien invasion. That trigger had just been pulled. Commander Zorak of the Zarn Empire did not know any of this, but he was witnessing the result. The black human ships, ancient and yet impossibly advanced, had come to life. They were part machine, part ghost, powered by technologies so old that even humans had forgotten how they worked. The vortex claw floated helplessly among the chaos. Every alien ship around it was being dismantled by invisible waves of energy. The dark human ships moved in perfect formation, never missing, never slowing down. "Commander, our readings make no sense," shouted Trex. "Those ships are over 200 years old, but they have power levels higher than our dreadnoughts." "How is that possible?" Zorak demanded. "They were primitives when we first scanned them." "We thought so," said Trex quietly, "but maybe they hid their strength." Below, deep in the ice of Antarctica, massive metal doors began to slide open. Beneath them was something far greater than the alien fleet, something humans had buried and forgotten on purpose. The ancient facility pulsed with light. Inside, hundreds of scientists and AI units came online, following old commands written in forgotten code. "Phase 2, initiate," said the system voice. Massive tunnels rumbled as machines powered up, releasing waves of energy that spread through the Earth's crust. From space, Zorak's sensors detected it. "Commander," shouted Trex. "A new energy surge from the southern continent. It's massive. I think something's waking up down there." Zorak glared at the planet. "Destroy it," he ordered. "Fire everything we have at that location." But his ships no longer obeyed. The alien weapons refused to target Earth. The AI inside the ships had been hacked. Every command was overwritten by human code. "Weapons are offline," yelled the gunnery officer. "We can't even control our systems anymore." "Impossible," Zorak roared. "How can these humans control our ships?" As he spoke, the bridge lights dimmed again. The human voice returned, calm and emotionless. "Project Revenant online. Earth Defense Protocol Omega, complete." The main screen changed, showing something emerging from beneath the ice, something enormous. At first, Zorak thought it was a mountain, but it kept rising higher and higher until it broke through the clouds. It was a weapon, but not like any the Zarn Empire had ever seen. Its surface was smooth, made of strange silver metal that shimmered even in the darkness. It had no engines, no visible weapons, but its energy signature was terrifying. "What is that?" Trex whispered. "A ship? A fortress?" Zorak said nothing. He just stared as the structure continued to rise. It was shaped like a spear pointed at the stars, and deep inside, its core burned with the light of a miniature sun. The human voice spoke again, louder this time. Prometheus core, active. The Vortex Claw's instruments went wild. The readings were off every scale. Commander, it's absorbing energy from the planet's magnetic field. Trex said in disbelief. If that thing releases it. But before he could finish, a massive pulse of light exploded from Antarctica. It wasn't a weapon blast, it was an energy wave. It rippled through space, disabling every alien ship in orbit. Shields collapsed. Engines died. Power vanished. In seconds, the mighty Zarn fleet became nothing but silent wrecks drifting through the void. Zorak fell to his knees. This can't be real, he whispered. A single planet cannot defeat the Empire. But it had. And humanity had done it without firing a single traditional weapon. The dark ships of Project Revenant surrounded the alien survivors, scanning every fragment of technology, every transmission, every breath. Then, one by one, they began to speak. Thousands of identical human voices echoed through the alien communication systems, each saying the same words, "Earth acknowledges your presence. You are not welcome here." The signal ended, and for the first time in recorded history, the Zarn Empire could not respond. Their invasion had not only failed, it had awakened something far older and far more powerful than they could ever imagine. Humanity's ghost fleet was alive, and the universe would never be the same again. The storm over Antarctica was like nothing the world had ever seen. Thunder rumbled across continents, lightning danced across the ice, and above it all, the massive structure known as the Prometheus core stood like a mountain of metal and fire. From space, its energy pulse glowed brighter than the sun. The Zarn ships floated helplessly, their systems fried, their weapons dead, their commanders silent in disbelief. Commander Zorak watched in horror as the readings on his screens became unreadable. The Prometheus core had released an energy field that turned their advanced technology into useless metal. "Commander," said Trex quietly, "our main power cells are gone. The ship isn't responding to any commands. We're trapped." Zorak clenched his claws. "No. We can't be trapped by primitives." But deep down, he knew this was no primitive world. The humans had built something that even the Zarn Empire couldn't understand. The dark ships from Project Revenant hovered silently around Earth, forming a defense grid unlike anything in the galaxy. They moved in perfect harmony, protecting the planet like ancient guardians. Below, inside the Prometheus core, human operators, some alive, others long since replaced by artificial minds, worked in unison. "Power levels at 100%, said a voice over the intercom. "Revenant fleet synchronization complete." The core's main AI came online, its voice echoing through every human and alien system alike. Phase 3 activated. Commencing defensive strike. The dark human ships began to move again. They didn't fire lasers or plasma weapons. Instead, they released waves of electromagnetic energy that tore through the disabled alien vessels. The Zarn ships flickered one by one, their hulls glowing white before vanishing into dust. It was clean, silent, terrifying. Zorak tried to call for help, but even his emergency channels were blocked. His fleet, once 500 strong, was now less than 50, and even those remaining ships were breaking apart. "Commander," Trex said in a trembling voice, "what are these humans? They shouldn't have this power." Zorak stared at Earth, his eyes wide with disbelief. "They're not just humans anymore. They've become something else." On the planet's surface, the human leaders watched through holographic screens. One of the old generals, Commander Hale, stood in the control room of the Prometheus core. His face was calm, his voice steady. "They wanted war," he said. "Let them see what Earth truly is." The other officers nodded. "Targets neutralized across all quadrants," reported an AI unit. "Remaining Zarn vessels attempting retreat." Hale's eyes narrowed. "No. We're not done yet." He turned toward the main screen. "Send a message to the surviving alien fleet. A human voice echoed across space, cutting into every Zarn communication channel. You came here to conquer. You came to take. But Earth is not your prize. Leave now, or face extinction. On the vortex claw, the message played again and again. The bridge was filled with fear. Commander, said Trex, they're giving us a choice. Zorak growled. No one gives orders to the Zarn Empire. But his anger was hollow. He looked at the broken remains of his fleet, thousands of years of dominance erased in less than an hour. He could feel the fear creeping in, the fear that every conqueror feels when he realizes he has met a force he cannot understand. On Earth, the Prometheus core systems began to stabilize. The energy field grew brighter, spreading across the atmosphere like a protective dome. Human scientists monitored the readings. Global Defense Shield is now active, one of them said. No unauthorized signal can pass through. Commander Hale nodded. Good. Then it's time. He pressed a command key, and the Prometheus core began to charge again. Deep inside the massive machine, a fusion reactor roared to life. The AI voice returned. Final charge sequence initiated. Estimated yield, planetary scale deterrent. In orbit, the remaining Zarn ships detected the rising energy surge. Commander, they're preparing another attack, shouted Trex. We have to retreat. Zorak hesitated. If we leave, we lose everything. The Empire will see us as cowards. If we stay, Trex said softly, we die. For a long moment, the commander said nothing. Then, quietly, he gave the order. All ships, retreat. The few surviving Zarn vessels turned and began to flee, their engines sputtering as they moved beyond the range of Earth's defense grid. But it was too late. The Prometheus core released its pulse. It wasn't a weapon meant to kill, it was meant to erase. The wave swept through space like a silent storm, deactivating every piece of alien technology it touched. The retreating ships froze, their systems dead, their lights gone. Commander Zorak looked up as the bridge darkened. This is impossible, he whispered. His last words before everything went black were the same ones he'd heard when the invasion began. You shouldn't have come. When the light faded, Earth was silent once more. The Revenant fleet returned to its stations, hovering in perfect formation. The Prometheus core lowered its energy output, sinking slowly back into the ice. Commander Hale stood in silence, watching the screens fade. They thought we were defenseless, he said softly. They never understood what humans do best. We prepare. The AI beside him replied. Threat eliminated. Awaiting new orders. Hale looked at the map of stars above the control room. Keep watching, he said. Because if they ever come back, we'll be ready. And somewhere beyond the edge of the solar system, the faint glow of retreating alien wreckage marked the graveyard of an empire that had believed Earth would be easy to conquer. The galaxy burned with rumors of Earth. Whispers spread across star systems, reaching even the cold halls of the Zarn Empire. No one could believe the stories. A small blue planet on the edge of the galaxy had destroyed one of the largest invasion fleets ever launched. Some said Earth had used ancient technology. Others claimed it had gods hidden beneath its surface. The Zarn High Council refused to believe such nonsense. They called it a lie, an embarrassment that needed to be erased. So they gathered their full strength, 2,000 warships, 20 dreadnoughts, and an armada built to crush entire worlds. Commander Zorak's failure had wounded the Empire's pride, and now they would make an example of Earth. The Supreme Commander, Lord Kravos, stood before the fleet, his voice echoing through the vast command chambers. No more mistakes, he said coldly. We will burn that planet until nothing remains. We will erase their name from every record. The fleet jumped through hyperspace, the stars stretching like ribbons of light. When they arrived, they expected to see a quiet planet. Instead, they found silence again, an empty void around Earth, no radio signals, no fleets waiting. Scanners show no resistance, reported an officer. Perhaps the humans ran out of power. Kravos smiled. Then this will be quick. But as the ships moved closer, the sky above Earth flickered. Thousands of small dots appeared, signals without origin. The dots grew brighter, forming patterns like constellations. "What is that?" asked the sensor chief. "Unknown energy signatures, sir." Then the dots moved. From the shadows, the Revenant fleet emerged once more. The same black, silent ships rose from the planet and the moon, their hulls gleaming faintly against the sunlight. They spread across orbit like a swarm of ghosts. "It's them," whispered an officer. "The ghost ships." Kravos sneered. "Fire everything. Burn them out of the sky." The alien fleet unleashed a storm of plasma and radiation missiles, enough to shatter moons, but every blast missed. The Revenant ships moved like shadows, bending light around them, vanishing and reappearing behind the Zarn ships. One dreadnought exploded before it even realized it was being attacked. "They're inside our defenses," shouted a commander. "How are they moving so fast?" The answer came in the form of a voice, calm, cold, and familiar. "Phase 4 activated." Every alien ship heard it, a human voice echoing across their channels. "You should have stayed away." Then chaos began. The Prometheus core reactivated beneath the Antarctic ice, pulsing with raw energy. The Earth's magnetic field lit up like fire, creating waves of electromagnetic power that wrapped the planet in a glowing shield. The Zarn ships tried to push through, but their engines sputtered and failed. The Revenant fleet struck back with precision. They didn't fire lasers or plasma, they used gravity itself. Invisible energy ripples tore through the alien formations, bending metal, twisting ships until they broke apart. The battle became a massacre. The humans fought with terrifying silence, every movement calculated, every strike perfect. Commander Kravos watched as ship after ship vanished. "Retreat," he roared. "All ships, fall back." But the order never reached the fleet. The communication systems had been hijacked again, flooded with human code. The alien screens turned black, showing only two words: "Humanity ascends." On Earth, Commander Hale stood in the control chamber of the Prometheus core, his hands resting on the glowing console. "They sent their entire fleet this time," said an officer. 2,000 ships. Hale's expression didn't change. "Then we'll show them why this planet is called home." He turned toward the AI projection floating beside him. "Status of Revenant fleet?" "Fleet integrity at 98%, replied the AI. "Enemy casualties, 70%. Hale nodded slowly. "Continue engagement, pattern Sigma. No survivors." Outside, the Revenant ships unleashed another wave of destruction. The sky above Earth became a graveyard of fire and debris. The alien fleet had no chance. Their technology, once feared across galaxies, meant nothing here. They had entered a battlefield designed by humans, a trap centuries in the making. Kravos' flagship was struck by invisible energy, its hull cracking open like glass. "We underestimated them," he whispered, staring at the blue world on his screen. "They are not the prey we thought." As his ship broke apart, he heard the same human voice that had haunted Zorak. "We told you not to come." Within minutes, the Zarn armada was gone. What remained was silence and drifting wreckage, the ashes of an empire's pride. The Revenant fleet regrouped, their black ships glowing faintly in the fading light. "Phase 4 complete," said the AI inside the Prometheus core. "Threat neutralized." Commander Hale watched the readings settle. "Prepare for the next step," he said. "If they sent 2,000 ships, others will come. The galaxy will know what happened here." "Understood," the AI replied. "Phase 5, external expansion?" Hale nodded. "Yes. It's time to take the fight beyond Earth." The lights inside the core grew brighter as the systems realigned. Across the Moon and Mars, hidden human facilities began to power up for the first time in centuries. Humanity was no longer just defending, they were preparing to move outward. Above the planet, the Revenant fleet adjusted formation, ready to leave orbit. And in the cold void of space, among the wreckage of the Zarn Empire, one final message pulsed through every frequency, repeating endlessly, "This is Earth. Do not come here. Ever again." The news of the Zarn Empire's destruction spread like wildfire through the galaxy. Entire civilizations that once feared the Zarn now whispered a new name, Earth. The mysterious blue planet had done what no one else dared to imagine. They had not only survived, they had annihilated the most feared empire in the known universe. Some called it a myth, others a warning, but one thing was clear: humanity had awakened. In the deep void beyond the solar system, hidden among ancient asteroids, a secret human fleet gathered strength. These were not ordinary ships. They were dark, silent, and alive with strange energy. The Revenant fleet was only the beginning. Commander Hale now oversaw something much larger. Project Ascendant, the next phase of humanity's rise. Deep inside the Prometheus core, the AI known as EOS pulsed with growing intelligence. Phase 5 activated, it announced in its cold, calm tone. Target sectors selected. Expansion protocol online. Hale looked out over the projection of the galaxy, hundreds of red dots glowing where alien empires thrived. "They'll come looking for answers," he said quietly. "We'll give them something to fear instead." EOS flickered. "We have detected transmissions from 3 major powers. They are forming an alliance. They believe Earth wields ancient weapons." Hale gave a small smile. "Let them believe whatever they want. The truth is much worse." Meanwhile, in the outer rim of the Orion cluster, alien diplomats met in secret. The ZYR Confederation, the Trell Dominion, and the surviving fragments of the Zarn gathered in a massive orbital station. Their leaders argued, shouted, and trembled. "This is madness," one of them cried. "A primitive world destroys an empire, and now you want to fight them?" Another slammed his claws on the table. "We cannot ignore what happened. If we let this human threat grow, it will reach our worlds next." Silence fell. Every leader there had seen the footage, the dark ships, the sudden disappearances, the calm human voice repeating the same message. "You shouldn't have come." They didn't understand how a world like Earth could build such power in secret. Some suspected outside influence, others believed it was dark technology from before recorded time. None realized that humanity's greatest weapon was not ancient or alien, it was human ingenuity itself. Back on Earth, massive facilities began activating across the planet. Cities once hidden deep underground now revealed towering structures that reached the clouds. Machines larger than mountains hummed to life. Energy flowed through vast networks beneath oceans and continents. "Everything is going according to plan," said General Voss, head of Earth's Global Defense Command. "We've waited long enough." Hale joined him in the command center, looking over data from across the solar system. "How are the colonies progressing?" Voss nodded. "Mars is stable. Luna Base Alpha is operational. The Titan outpost reports successful test of the new warp gate prototype." Hale's eyes glowed with pride. "Good. The galaxy thinks Earth is just defending itself. They have no idea we're preparing to move outward. Do you really plan to go to them?" Voss asked quietly. "After all they've done?" Hale's voice turned cold. "They came to us first. It's time we returned the visit." Outside, the dark fleet assembled again. This time it wasn't just the Revenant ships. Dozens of new vessels joined them, sleeker, faster, built from alien wreckage and human design combined. Humanity had learned from their enemies, improved their weapons, and made them terrifyingly efficient. Each ship carried a human-AI hybrid interface, merging thought and machine perfectly. They could think, adapt, and strike faster than any known species. As the fleet prepared for departure, EOS transmitted a signal across the void. "Contact detected. Unknown ships approaching from the outer system." Hale's expression hardened. "They found us sooner than expected." "Identification complete," said EOS. 3 scout vessels belonging to the Trell Dominion." Hale walked to the central console. "Lock onto them." Disable, don't destroy. Let them see us. Moments later, 3 alien ships entered the edge of the solar system. They scanned the area, searching for any sign of human presence. Suddenly, their sensors picked up movement, hundreds of blips appearing all around them. Before they could react, a voice filled their comms. Unidentified vessels. You are trespassing in restricted space. Power down your systems. The alien commander tried to respond, but static filled the channel. Then, through the clouds of space dust, they saw it, the human flagship, Prometheus 1, emerging from the dark like a waking beast. It was enormous, dwarfing their ships, its hull rippling with strange black energy. The aliens froze in fear. This can't be real, one whispered. The ship's main cannon charged with silent power, its glow reflecting off their hulls. The voice returned, calm but final. You were warned. This is Earth's domain now. A burst of white light filled the void. When it faded, the alien ships were gone. Their data logs, however, survived, transmitted automatically before their destruction. Within days, those recordings reached the Galactic Council. Every empire saw the image of Prometheus 1 rising from the darkness, unstoppable and silent. Panic spread like fire. Fleets began to mobilize. Armies trained for war. But deep inside the Prometheus core, Hale and Eos were already planning their next move. They will come for us, said Eos. In greater numbers. Let them, Hale replied. The more they bring, the faster they fall. We'll finish what they started. The core pulsed brighter, sending invisible signals across distant worlds, activating old human outposts, awakening dormant war machines, and recalling lost ships from deep space. Humanity had stopped hiding. The invasion that began as an attack on Earth was about to become something much greater, a counterattack across the stars. The galaxy thought they had seen Earth's wrath, but they hadn't seen anything yet. The galaxy was no longer at peace. Every world that had once mocked Earth now whispered its name with fear. The images of the Prometheus 1 had spread everywhere. A ship so massive, so advanced, that even the oldest empires could not understand how it existed. Across the Orion cluster, alien fleets began forming alliances, pooling their technology, and preparing for the inevitable. They didn't call it defense. They called it survival. Deep in the void between stars, the human fleet moved in perfect silence. Thousands of ships glided through the darkness, their hulls black as obsidian, leaving no trails, no signatures, nothing to track. The Revenant fleet led the way, followed by new human dreadnoughts, each powered by the Prometheus core's fragments. At the center of it all, Commander Hale stood aboard the Prometheus 1, looking over the star map glowing before him. Hundreds of red zones marked alien strongholds. We've confirmed their gathering point, said Eos, the ship's AI, its voice steady and calm. A joint fleet of 5 empires, assembling near the Vega system. Estimated force. 4,000 ships. Hale's eyes narrowed. Good, he said quietly. That's exactly where we'll strike. On Earth, the planet's skies shimmered with movement. Massive structures, hidden for centuries beneath the surface, now rose into the clouds. Cities that had once been peaceful were now bastions of war, their towers humming with energy. The people of Earth had changed. Fear was gone, replaced by something sharper, colder. The invasion had united humanity like never before. Every nation, every colony, every scientist worked under one flag now, the flag of Earth Defense Command. No more divisions. No more politics. Just one mission, protect the species, and never let another empire threaten them again. The preparations for the counterstrike were vast. From Mars to Titan, war factories built weapons the galaxy had never seen before. Planetary defense cannons, self-learning drones, and gravity-warping missiles, all designed by humans, all tested against alien wreckage. The ghosts of fallen Zarn ships were now tools for human advancement. Eos appeared beside Hale in a flicker of light. Phase 6 complete, it reported. All systems aligned for interstellar engagement. Warp gates online. Hale gave a slow nod. Begin deployment. One by one, enormous circular structures lit up across the solar system, warp gates large enough to swallow mountains. They opened like blue suns, their energy rippling through space. The fleet began to move, vanishing through the gates in streaks of light. Their destination, Vega. Meanwhile, in the Vega system, the Allied alien fleet prepared for war. Their commanders shouted orders, coordinating ships from 5 different empires, the Trell, the Zyr, the Vakari, the Solith, and the remaining Zarn. They believed sheer numbers would crush the humans. "They cannot match our firepower," said Admiral Kareth of the Trell Dominion. "Even if they destroyed one fleet, they cannot stand against 5. But his confidence wavered when the sensors started to flicker. "Multiple signatures detected," shouted a technician. "Unknown ships incoming." "How many?" Kareth demanded. The reply came with terror. "All of them." In the next instant, space itself seemed to tear open. The human fleet emerged in perfect formation, their dark hulls glowing faintly with blue light. No sound, no broadcast, only movement. The revenant ships spread wide, flanking the enemy from both sides. The Prometheus one appeared last, its shadow stretching across entire cruisers. "They came," whispered one alien officer, his voice shaking. "They actually came for us." Hale stood silently on his bridge, eyes locked on the enemy fleet. "Eos," he said. "Send the message." Across every alien channel, a single phrase echoed. "This is Earth Command. You brought war to our home. Now we bring it to yours." Then, the sky ignited. The human fleet opened fire, but not with lasers or plasma. Their weapons bent reality itself. Gravity cannons tore through alien shields, crushing ships into fragments before they even exploded. EMP waves rolled through the enemy lines, shutting down thousands of systems in seconds. The Allied fleets panicked, firing blindly, but their shots hit nothing. Human ships moved unpredictably, warping space around them, appearing where no radar could reach. The Prometheus one unleashed its main weapon, a pulse of pure energy that cut through entire formations. 1,000 alien ships vanished in one blinding flash. The survivors screamed for retreat. "We're losing control," cried Admiral Kareth. "They're everywhere. Nothing's working." But retreat was impossible. The human fleet had surrounded them completely. Inside the chaos, Hale remained calm. "No mercy," he ordered. "End it." One by one, the alien empire's pride and power crumbled. The Zyr command carrier imploded under its own gravity. The Trell dreadnoughts were sliced apart by invisible blades of light. The last Zarn ships, desperate to escape, turned and fled, only to vanish into sudden silence as human drones pursued. Within hours, the battle was over. The Vega system burned. The 5 empires' combined strength was gone, reduced to drifting wrecks and dead silence. Eos appeared beside Hale once more. Enemy fleets neutralized. No survivors detected. Hale looked out at the remains. "Good," he said quietly. "Transmit the message to all sectors." Across the galaxy, human transmissions echoed. "This is Earth Command. The war is over. The galaxy belongs to no one. But if you come for us again, you will find only silence waiting." Civilizations everywhere received the message. Some trembled. Some began to prepare for peace. Others, foolish and proud, began to plot revenge. But one truth had already been written in the stars: humanity was no longer prey. They were the storm that had been sleeping. And now, the storm was spreading.